All right, hello everyone, and welcome. It is Tuesday, November 17th, and we have entered our third week. Oh, sorry, no, we haven't. We've entered our fourth week. We've entered our last week of the month, and we, of course, have a new round of assignments to discuss for this final week, and we have the week 3 assignments. Those were turned in on Sunday. You have the week 2 revisions. Those were turned in on Friday. And so far, I have gone through the production technique and the technical assignment. I just posted up the technical assignment right before we started class. So those are out. And I still have the week 3 game compositions from your Palace game, and we will get those back to you on by the end of tomorrow. So that will keep us on schedule through the rest of our assignments, or keep us going all the way into the end of the month. I will be working on your week 2 revisions they were handed in on Friday. I will probably work on those towards the end of the week. So, like I mentioned last week, through week 3, we kind of hit full stride in all of our material and assignments, and you guys are doing quite well on all of that. So we had the production technique and the technical assignment from week 3, the orchestral template, and your Angry Bots sound design. And like I mentioned, I got those back to you. So with the orchestral template, most people did just fine on that. Once you get everything set up one time through, it's basically following the same flow in the creation of all of the instruments. And then there is some routing and plugins and groups towards the end, and naming and coloring tracks and screenshots, and a lot of those details to get it all set up. But most people did just fine on that. It was either something, some asset that was missing, or something incorrect with the routing. Mostly pretty straightforward things to point out and to fix for the revision. And same thing for your sound design. Most people had some great sounds to listen to, and were formatted correctly and set up ready to work in the game. So very similar to the previous week's technical assignment. Of course, once you get the setup of naming the tracks and bouncing them out in the correct sample rate and bit depth, and getting everything properly formatted, then it is just about going out and finding cool sounds and editing them down and making them work. So it's always interesting because everybody's working on the same game and everybody has access to the same bank of sounds from the Westar website, or whatever other locations you source your sounds from. But it ends up being a wide variety of ideas and sounds for all of the different sound effects. So that's always fun to listen to. And so we have the Palace composition still outstanding. Towards the end of our class this evening, I will load up all the grade sheets and just talk about those one time over to make sure to just clarify any points. We had no submissions for peer review this evening, so we will make up for that with some quick discussion of the grading of all of your assignments. And then your week 3 revision assignment opens up later this week on Thursday and closes Friday. That is your last round of revisions. Do understand that there is no opportunity for revisions for our week 4 assignments. There's no week 5 to do the revisions in. So that's one reason that we don't have a brand new game this week. We have our three projects, three game compositions, and we kind of wrap everything up with our final round of revisions in this week. There is a new composition, but it is not in a interactive format. It's not split up into cues or looping or anything like that. It's just a linear composition in the style of one of the games that you are going to choose. So we'll get into all of that. So no brand new game composition this week. We do have our production technique and technical assignments. So let's get into those and talk about your assignments and just kind of what's in store for this final week. Our focus here in our last week is continuing a bit of discussion of the technical topics that we started on Thursday in last week. But the main focus turns to how do you take everything that you've learned and the projects that you worked on and start applying them beyond the class? How do you take what you've worked on and demonstrate it in its best format possible? And then how do you get started in the industry? One of the big purposes of this class is to introduce you to this type of project, this part of the industry, what it's like working on a game project, and to give you a sense of if it's something that interests you and something that you want to pursue. And so our topics on week 4, our assignments are focused on preparing demo reel and portfolio material, and also researching some industry contacts and researching some game projects. Really just our assignments are formatted in or purposed so that they are really the first stepping stones that you would take beyond this class. If you are interested in this type of work and in this part of the industry, how do you find projects to work on? How do you find clients? How do you present your material in the best way possible for this type of work? So while our discussion on Thursday will talk about those types of resources and where to get started, our assignments this week are certainly a practice in those first few steps. So our technical assignment focuses on taking your work that you've done for these games and putting it into the best format possible to demonstrate what you've done. So our assignments, our game compositions each week, are well and good as class assignments and as projects, but their real focus is to give you a medium of a video game to apply your music and your work, and then to have a vehicle to show it all off in. And that is, they are fully working and operating Mac games. And if you create the music and you name it and format it correctly and you place the files in the correct location, then the next time the game plays, it should demonstrate and play back all of your work, all of your music. And it's also changeable and expandable if you ever wanted to do different versions, or you wanted better ideas at later points and you wanted to revisit it and update it and make tweaks and changes. It's there to as a demo work or media for you to use. And it is good as a game, and your music for a game project is best shown off in the game itself. You could just take all of your WAV files, your loops, your intros, your endings, your ambience and actions, and all of the different individual WAV files that we've talked about all through the month. You could load them up on SoundCloud or stitch them all together and make a YouTube video or something like that and play them back in a kind of linear way and just start to finish. but it's really not going to demonstrate the underlying purpose and what the real use of the music is and your sound effects until it's put into a game and actually played in its interactive format. So the best way to demonstrate your work is the game itself. But there are certain challenges and roadblocks between you and the perfect demo of your game. Eventually, you can take these games and post them on a website or a blog or social media or wherever you add new and new work and new projects that you've been working on. And you can host it on a website and send it off to new employers and new clients, and you can. It's entirely there for your purposes to show off. However, it is a game, and it is a Mac game, and there might be some issues with just sending off the file and hoping that it works properly on somebody else's computer. So some of the roadblocks here, starting out with the technical side, is it's a game, it's a piece of software, and it's a Mac piece of software. So number one, they have to have a Mac computer in order to play your game. They have to have a computer that's powerful enough to play your game. That's really not too much of a hurdle. These games are not all that incredibly resource intensive. But some game projects, certainly if you don't have a powerful enough computer, it doesn't do it justice to show it off. So you have to make sure that the game works on their computer, right? As games move on and technology moves on and better computers and different operating systems, there's no guarantee that in 6 months or a year or 5 years or 10 years that this piece of software is going to work, especially in the Apple world, where they seem to release a new version of an operating system every year or however quickly it happens, and it breaks all previous versions of software unless they update it. And so there's just no guarantee in any sort of software. It's not just a Mac thing, but that it's going to work in the future. But you also have a concern of if it works and if they are capable of playing it and it functions properly. It doesn't frustrate them as they are playing. They understand the controls. They know how to play the game. These are certainly considerations in demonstrating your game, and really that's more on the game, and you want it to be as simple and easy as possible to demonstrate your music. So now, most of the clients that you would be sending this off to are employers. They're probably game developers. They're game folks. They have powerful computers. They're technically minded. They would know what you mean when you say it's a Mac application. You need a Mac to run it. So maybe some of those technical issues may not be the end-all and be-all. And actually, these games can be built for PC and iOS and even PlayStation and Xbox and all the different formats. But you have to have access to the full and complete game and all the software and know how to do all that stuff. So for all intents and purposes, it's a Mac application. But maybe there certainly can get around those technical issues overall. But there's another layer of issues. That is the actual game itself. And you don't want them to be confused or frustrated by how the game plays or how fast or slow it plays or the control mechanism that you don't want them to be so frustrated with the game that your music immediately has a bad light shown on it because they don't enjoy the game. Or maybe they're enjoying the game so much, they're having so much fun that they get to the end of it and they're like, oh yeah, there was some audio there and music. I should have probably paid attention to it. And so you don't want the game experience to get in the way of how amazing your game music is. There's also something that says that people aren't too keen on downloading random files to their computer and playing them, some random file that they downloaded from the internet. Now, of course, you're a very trustworthy person, and they know you because you're having this communication of working with them. But it may not be the first thing that they want to do is to just click on some link and download it. So what I'm getting at here is there can be some technical and other issues that get in the way of just showing off how fun and cool your music is that works with the game. So the best way of demonstrating your music in a game is having it in the game, but actually capturing a video of you playing the game, showing off how the music operates. Hold on for just a sec. So, having a video capture of your music working in the game is going to be helpful for you because more than likely that video is going to play on whatever computer or system that they have, and it's going to work 10 years in the future, and it's going to always be the same, and it's going to be a perfect demonstration of your music, and it'll show off how the game plays and how everything works together. And then, if once they watch the video and see what it's all about, then they'd be much more inclined to check it out and download the game and play it. If they want more information, then they can download the game and check it out. And then they've watched a video, they know what it's all about. And if they only have a PC, then they can just watch the video and still get a sense of how well your music works with the game. So that is the reason for creating a video capture. And the purpose of your technical assignment this week is to do a video capture of your music and sound effects working in at least one of the games. For the base level of the assignment, you are only required to do a video capture of just one of your game projects. But I very, very much encourage you to do all three of them. That way you have 3 times the videos. You have now 3 videos to add to your demo reel to show off your work. You have the work done. Once this video capture setup is correctly set up, is ready to go, then it's no more difficult than just playing the game and showing everything off. So you're definitely encouraged to do all 3 videos. But just for technical issues, if things are crashing and burning and things are not working for you for whatever reason, the base requirement is to only just to start out with at least one of them working. The assignment and all of the pictures are from 2D Platformer, but it doesn't matter which game you do. And again, you shouldn't just do one game. Hopefully you can get at least 1 or 2 or 3. Send me all 3 of them because I don't hear the final version ever, really, until you put them all together and make a video and send it to me at the end of the month. I hear your music as individual files. I take your files and I put them into Logic, and I listen to them in Logic because that allows me to just have a lot more control over them and hear exactly what I want, just in the same way that I demonstrate them in the class. And I hear your sound effects, but I never hear everything together and how it works in the game. So send me all 3 videos if you can. And the process of creating one of these video captures hopefully isn't too foreign to you. There is an extra layer of complexity because we are trying to capture the audio from a game. But at least doing a video capture, that is hopefully nothing new, and you've probably used QuickTime to do that. So let me always do a quick poll here. Give me a heads up in the chat. Have you done a screen capture before, and have you done that screen capture with QuickTime? I still believe that you have to do that in some previous class where you've used QuickTime and you've captured audio, either some video on your computer, your desktop, or something like that. I'm getting some yeses here in the chat. Okay, very good. So the idea of a video capture, not too foreign, but of course, let me talk about how this is specifically set up for what we are doing here. So there is a workflow PDF, week 4 technical assignment workflow PDF. And this will give you step-by-step instructions on how to do everything. So I'm just going to go through a couple of things here to point out how this is going to be set up. So you can choose any of the 3 game projects to showcase 2D platformer Angry Bots Palace of Orinthalion. You will use QuickTime and Soundflower. Now, I guess you could use ScreenFlow if you own ScreenFlow, because the purpose of the assignment is to get a video captured with the audio. The problem is if you don't have the purchased version, if you only have the demo, then it has this huge watermark across it. So please don't use that. We point out QuickTime and Soundflower because these are free options for you to use. And you mentioned earlier, you've already used QuickTime to capture the video portion of it. So the video is no problem. It's the audio, because we need to capture audio from some other source. And if I go to QuickTime here and I do new screen recording, this pops up. And if you're familiar with doing a screen recording, you go to File, New Screen Recording, and you would hit record, and it asks you, do you want to do the whole screen or do you want to do just part of the screen? And then it just starts recording, and you can do whatever you want on the screen, and it'll make that into a video. The audio, however, is a bit different because you probably don't have all of these options that I have. These are all different audio interfaces that are currently, those are all virtual audio interfaces, right? You have built-in microphone. But the problem here with just the default setup of QuickTime is that it expects that the audio comes from some source outside of your computer, whether it is the internal microphone or if it's the line input into your computer. And it expects that external source because it doesn't want to give you the capability of recording things inside of your computer, because you could do all sorts of bad things with recording illegal audio sources inside of your computer. And that is not our purpose, because we created all of the audio and music. So we want to be able to record software inside of the computer. And so in order to do that, we are going to use this software called Soundflower. And Soundflower is a free download, and when you download it, it shows up as audio interfaces inside of your computer. Soundflower is a virtual audio cable. It's a piece of software that you install. You probably have to restart your computer, and it shows up as extra inputs and outputs inside of all of your audio software. If I go to Logic here, and I go to my audio, in and out, Soundflower shows up as extra audio interfaces. And what it does is it allows you to route any audio, the output of any piece of software, into the input of any other piece of software. And we are going to route the output of our game into the input of QuickTime so that we can record all of our, not only our video, but our audio also. All right, so we'll talk more about what that does and how that works. If you're not great at playing the game, that is fine. You are not being graded for your actually playing the game, your success at playing the game. the intent of the video is to show off your music in the best light, which means you should be playing the game to show off everything, right? That doesn't mean you should just sit there in a corner and not do anything, but play the game to demonstrate all of the aspects of the sounds. That's the real intention. But you're certainly not graded by any means on how you actually perform in the game. Clean up your desktop. Who knows what crazy icons and desktop backgrounds you have on your computer. Notice, like, when I do this, I just have a blue background. You don't see all my crazy desktops on the other screen. This just makes it as clean and professional as possible. And you're encouraged to capture footage from all 3 games. So let's talk about how Soundflower works here. Hold on a sec. All right. Download and install Soundflower. Let's go. Come on, go the right direction. There we go. Download Soundflower. Soundflower was originally done by Cycling74. That company also makes Max MSP, which is a very popular audio development tool, audio synth and effects environment. And Cycling74 kind of gave up development on the software, and this company called Rogue Amoeba took it over. But I think recently they also handed it back over to the original developer. I don't know if they're with Cycling74 or not anymore, but whatever. And this is like as of this month. And so you will follow this link to download the software, and it'll download it directly, and you will install it. And like I said, I think you have to restart your computer. And when you use Soundflower, you don't have to load up any sort of application initially to route it from one software to another piece of software. There is another application called Soundflower Bed, which allows you to monitor everything. And we'll talk about how that works. So don't look for the application to run in your dock at the bottom of the screen. Everything runs up in the menu bar at the top. So this is how this is going to work. You're going to go into your sound preferences, go to your output, and you're going to set your output to Soundflower. So that means anything in your computer goes out of this virtual audio cable out of Soundflower. The output routes out, and then it's got to go in somewhere, so it's going to go into QuickTime. So you load up QuickTime, and you choose a new screen recording. This is the part that's probably quite familiar. And then you're going to switch your options here. And when you select your options, you're going to have a choice of different audio inputs. Originally, you just had line in and microphone. Now you have Soundflower. And you're just going to use 2-channel. I think right now it's actually 64 channels that you could route like multi-track around, which is kind of cool, but I've never needed to use that. I always just use the stereo. It's like having a stereo cable going out of the game audio output and going into QuickTime. All right. Once you do that and you play the game, you should see some meters bouncing up and down, but you won't hear any audio at this point. And this is what trips people up. Because you've routed it internally, you can't hear anything yet. So you want to be able to monitor everything. There's a couple of slides coming up here. You can record either full screen or just a portion of your screen. You can highlight over what you actually want to capture. You can either just do the window or do the full screen, however you set it up. We'll also talk about that. But you need to be able to hear it. And to hear it, there's an application that's installed called Soundflower Bed. This will show up in applications in Soundflower. And this, when you load or launch this application, this is what runs up in the menu bar. Runs up here. You're going to then be able to hear everything by choosing whichever output you listen, right? Whatever your speakers are hooked up to, or just the speakers on your computer. You go out there, and then you should be able to hear everything. Once this is up to this point, this is all of the technical setup of getting it working. And I very much encourage you to download Soundflower early on in the week, install it, make sure you understand how it works, load up the game and load up QuickTime and just do a quick screen recording and see that you understand how to set it all up. Because once it's working, then it's just a matter of playing the game and capturing it as best as possible. So it's really not too many steps to get it up and working, and you definitely test it out. Just don't do it blindly and trust that it's all working. You always got to test it out, make sure it's working as you expect, and then just go and play the game and get the best footage you can. So when you run the game, you get a couple of different options, and maybe you've already played around with some of these options. You can change the screen resolution depending on whether you have a Retina desktop and the screen resolution that you run it at, and you can turn it up and down and make it bigger and smaller, or you can run it windowed, which will put it in a window, or if you turn that off, it'll be full screen. Pretty much, when I run these classes, I have a very low screen resolution so that my videos don't get ridiculous, and that we can see everything on the screen. So I run it at a pretty low resolution overall. But if you're up here, most Mac laptops are 1440 by 900 or higher than that if you have a Retina display. And so you can turn it up and down to determine what the best resolution is for you. If your computer is running slower, then lower the resolution, or you can also lower the graphics quality. Then once you have everything set up, then all you have to do is hit record and play the game. And like I said, it's not about how you play the game. It's all about getting the best capture as possible, just demonstrating all of the music, all of the sound effects, just making sure, die a couple of times so that you hear the ending cues. I'm not really going to count and make sure that you have every single intro and every single ending, or get all three of the stingers if you're doing Angry Bots or anything like that, because I understand that's random and you don't have control over that. But I mean, don't just have one of them in there, and if you can trigger it a couple of times, that will work. So, probably no longer than a minute. You may be less than maybe about 30 seconds to a minute to give you time enough to demonstrate everything that's needed. Then you close out the game. Then you stop the screen recording. If there's a little bit of you clicking around in the beginning of the video and you clicking around the end, that's fine. If you want to make it, honestly, for demo reel purposes, you should make it as clean as possible. Edit it down. Like I said, the purposes of these videos are, one, for the assignment, but they're really there to give you material to add to a portfolio or a demo reel, to take the music and the work that you've done and make sure that it doesn't just kind of go into a folder somewhere and you never touch the games again. If you never play the game, that's fine. You have a video to show it off. So I'm not really, the thing that I'm most interested in for the grade in this assignment is the process. That you understand how to do a screen capture, how to use Soundflower to route the audio from the game into the video capture, because once you have that process down, it's if you have new games or new music or different computer or whatever, you can always run this same process on any game project that you work on. You stop the recording, you save the recording, follow the naming guidelines, then check the video. This is always, if people have issues with this assignment, it's probably because they never watched the video that they just recorded, or else they would know that the video is completely silent, or that it didn't record from SoundCloud. They had their internal microphone playing, and I could hear them breathing in the background, or I could hear their family running around, or their dog barking, or somebody doing the dishes in the background, or something very odd like that. That has nothing to do with game music. So just check the video. Just watch it. If it didn't work, then try it again. Don't spend time recording a minute-long video without checking it first to make sure it works. And then you won't have to do it over and over again. So if there's any sort of issue, identify that you're having problems with. It's typically with Soundflower and how it's set up. Contact me as soon as you can, and we can certainly work through any sort of issue. Optional tips for better screen recordings. Clear off your desktop, right? Who knows what stuff you have on your desktop, and more than likely, whether good or bad, people will anonymously judge you if they don't have know who the video's from, right? Like, what's that weird stuff? Or, oh, this person's desktop is completely messy. I'm a very organized person. I'm not going to hire them, or whatever it is. So having it, and it just distracts from what you're actually trying to show off. So if you do it full screen, then you don't see any desktop. That's fine. If you have crazy stuff on the desktop, then maybe take all your icons and put them in a folder and put them on, hide them somewhere or something like that. I don't know. Just make it as neat and clean as possible. You can hide the dock and get that out of the way. If your computer can run it, then the higher the resolution, the better. Full screen captures. That way it can get larger and smaller and always look good. There is a possibility that this assignment could make your computer breathe very hard and start stuttering and skipping and crash and burn and fire shoots out and all sorts of bad things happen. Hold on just a sec. That, excuse me. That should not be the case. If you've not had any sort of issues so far this month with any of these games, then you'll probably have no issue here. But I don't want any sort of technical issues to get in the way with your your ability to successfully do a video capture. Meaning that if your computer starts running slow, then reduce the resolution, reduce the graphics quality. That might help things. Don't do a full screen capture, only capture a window. That can help things. And if all else fails, if you try all sorts of different stuff and it's still stuttering and jerky and skipping and things like that, it's okay if the video skips around. We don't want the audio or music to have any sort of problems. So if your computer is slowing down, it'll typically have the video that will stutter first. If it's got to be pretty bad if the music and audio start skipping and stuttering. If that's happening, then definitely contact me and let me know. But if your computer's struggling to keep up and the video jerks around a little bit, but the audio is fine, pristine, then that's perfectly acceptable for the assignment. So change the resolution, lower the resolution, go to a windowed mode. Only do a partial screen recording because in QuickTime you can just select a certain section. All of those things will help it be as smooth as possible. Tips before delivery. Name everything. Zip it up. Send it to me. do all 3 videos, and you should have some good stuff to show off. Oh, I guess I should show just one more time how to actually get your music and sound effects in the game. Right? Hopefully you've been doing this throughout the month. I'll just throw Angry Bots up here. Right? Like I said, you don't have to do 2D platformer. Everything is in those terms, but you can choose any of the games. Do all 3 of them. Again, all you have to do to get your music and sound effects set up is you right-click on the application itself. You do Show Package Contents, and it will bring up a window that says Contents. In that Contents folder, you will find Resources. No. Sorry. You will find Data, and in Data, you will find Streaming Assets. So if I go to Contents, find Data, in Data, find Streaming Assets, and then you'll find 2 folders that are very familiar, Music and Sound Effects. Drop your sounds there. Make sure, again, that they're named properly, that they are formatted, sample rate, bit depth, number of channels, and then everything will work. All right, so this is definitely an assignment that you just set up earlier in the week to test everything out, get Soundflower going. That's my biggest concern overall, is that Soundflower is going to work properly for you. And please contact me if it is not. All right, so that is our technical assignment, doing a video capture. And our production technique this week is going to be doing some game research, finding a game project, and we're going to mock up some of the initial communication and pitch that you would send off to a prospective client. So let me take a quick pause here before we get into our next topic. If you have any questions, go ahead and post those up. Oops. All right, so our production technique will have you finding a game that you are interested in working on and creating a music demo that is in the style of that game, doing a bit of research on the game itself and the developer making that game, and then creating a pitch letter that describes your interest in working on the game project and is kind of the initial reach out communication where you're making contact and telling the developer a little bit about yourself and why you would be a perfect candidate to work on their game project. So, before we really get into this assignment, let me start out by saying a big disclaimer that you will not actually be contacting anybody for the purposes of this assignment. You will not actually need to download and play their game. And I mean, if you have a game, if they have a game that's playable, you can certainly check it out. but I don't want to unleash a group of hungry new game composers on a group of unknowing game developers who might be at any sort of stage in their game development. Definitely, for the purposes of this assignment, you don't actually need to contact anybody, which also gives us the benefit of you don't need to find a game project that is currently in need of a game composer. We can kind of assume that any sort of game out there is ready and willing for the likes of us to hire a new game composer. So number one, please don't contact for the purposes of this assignment. Now, I certainly have had students that beyond this assignment, beyond this class, they have gone on to actually reach out and communicate and even start working with some of these game developers. But just for the purposes of the class, you don't need to actually make contact. So definitely wanted to start out with that. So the purpose here is to kind of go through the process of the initial communication, the initial research, and making a music demo in the style of your chosen game. So this will start out with finding an actual game project that interests you for the purpose of this assignment. So, like I said, you can choose any sort of game out there. I would, again, strongly encourage you to choose something on the size and scale of a game that you might start working on kind of straight out of the gate, directly out of the degree program, or while you're starting earlier on in your career. Smaller game projects on the size and scale that you could accomplish on your own, and as a newer kind of developer. Meaning, don't start out and say, Dear Activision, I love Call of Duty. I've played every Call of Duty before. I've recently graduated, and I think I am a new great candidate to be your next game composer for Call of Duty. Or, hey, I just started playing Halo 5. I would love to do all of your Halo music. I really love Halo. So, hey, contact me. It's probably not the place that you're going to start out at. That's, of course, where everybody wants to go. And the big companies out there are looking and hiring big name talent out there with a proven track record and experience of game development. And you have the possibility, certainly working with them early on as more of a junior role and an entry level role, but they're not going to hire you on as the full and only game composer. Which, hey, who knows? All sorts of things can happen, but the main goal here is to find a project on the size and scale of something that you might start out with. So certainly you can get that from anywhere in the wide internet, but if you don't know where to start or have any sources, I have some good suggestions here of websites to find those types of games. So I have two websites here. They're actually sister sites. One is called moddb.com, and the next one is called indiedb.com. And they are two flavors of the same kind of site. ModDB, or mod, stands for modification, and what they are doing is they are taking a previously existing game or project and manipulating it and adding content, adding more characters, more storyline, and these games are typically not destined for commercial projects because they are based off of some other previous commercial product like Battlefield, or they're based off the Unreal games or the Team Fortress or Killing Floor or some Back to the Future thing. What is this? Grand Theft Auto Vice City mod for Back to the Future, which sounds totally cool. Killing Floor, which is a zombie game. All right, this is based off of Warcraft. Castle Fight, right? So mods are teams that are working to build more content for games. IndieDB is the independent side. These are typically they're independent developers working on their own game project, and they're often intended for commercial release. There's some pretty popular projects on here, like Five Nights at Freddy's. I don't know if you're familiar with Five Nights at Freddy's. It's on iOS and Android. Currently, it started out in these types of projects, but you can find all sorts of game projects on here. Let's see, the Indie Games of the Year. Oh, that's a countdown. That's 2014. That's already passed. All right, let's find a game here. Fight the Tentacle. What's that about? Oh, that looks too weird. Oh my, that looks very odd. Okay, well, moving on. Let's see. Something else you can do is go to Top 100. And this will give you some of the big popular games that are out there. Maybe give you some better things. Farlight Explorers. Let's see what this is. Okay, this looks interesting. All right, who knows? Looks like some images here. All right, so let's say we wanted to do Farlight Explorers. Looks pretty cool. All right, so let's take a look at the assignment here. There we go. Let me load it up, I guess. Week 4. Production. Oh, that's right. They changed Adobe Reader or Acrobat Reader on me, and it's all tabbed now, and it's all freaking me out. Okay, so in your game pitch here, you will have a game description, a pitch letter, and I don't have a title for it. The actual demo composition. All right. So the first part of this is to just look around and find a game project that you're interested in. So you can find any one of those on those two sites or any other sources out there. And then you'll do just a bit of research on the project. You can just take this section right here and copy it into your document and fill out this info. Excuse me. The one important thing I guess I should point out is that the only thing that you are going to turn in with this assignment is one text document, whether it's Pages or a Word document or I guess it could just be text, but a Word document's probably best. Hold on. And all the music that you create for this assignment is going to be hosted on a site somewhere, and you're just going to provide me a link. So just in the same way that you would be contacting a client or developer and you would be sending them an email, you are probably not best to attach a zip file or an MP3 file as an attachment on the email. It could get lost in a spam filter or get blocked or something like that. Everything should be a link that is clickable and really easy to follow, right? Like I said, people don't feel too comfortable with downloading random attachments on their email. So if you host your music on SoundCloud or YouTube or your own website or something like that, then they can just click a link and watch it, and they feel much more comfortable like that. So same sort of format. Everything's going to be delivered to me in a text document, with links where I can click off and check everything out. So you can start out with the documentation and just copy this section in for a bit of research on your game. So you'll say, what is the game name? And where's my screen here? Go back and forth. Farlight Explorers. All right, so I'd put that in there. Let me get my back and forth going here. Okay, game developer. Look around for game developer. It's in and over here. Farlight. Oh, wow. How creative of a name. We're called Farlight, and we make Farlight Explorers. InfiniteExplorers.com. Oh, boo. Their website doesn't even work. I'm losing trust in this game project. So, all right. So, game developer, Farlight, website, farlightexplorers.com. Team contact email. You may or may not be able to find this. Sometimes they link to a GoDaddy website or something bad like that. And for the purposes of this assignment, I'm honestly not going to check and email all these people. So put a contact email address. Put like info@farlightexplorers.com. Or if you can't find it, make something up that would be in the style of the actual demo, right? So so that it can just be formatted so that I know that there is some information there. Videos and pictures and links to the game, right? On all of these sites here, there is an images page, or you can go to their website. Maybe they have some images. Whatever it is, just some pictures so I can check out the game and know what you're even talking about and know what project you've chosen. IndieDB or ModDB website. Where did you get this from? Don't just tell me that you got it from IndieDB or ModDB. I can probably guess that. Give me the actual link to their page so I can check out the same thing that you checked out, right? Copy and paste this in to let me know what you actually were looking at. And then give me a game description, just a short paragraph, couple of sentences that says what type of game it is. You can do a little research. Don't just copy and paste this in, right? I catch that all the time. Oh, look, it's somebody else's description. But you can kind of summarize what's going on here from what you interpret from the game. All right, so that is the game description. It gives me some information about the game that you've chosen. Hold on just a sec. Pardon me, I'm just getting over being sick and it's messing with me. All right. Pitch letter. This is the main part of the project, along with the music. I guess let me describe the music a little bit. Once you have chosen the game and gotten some information about the game, then you will write around a 1 minute long linear piece of music that's in the style of that game. So this would be a spec music demo that they typically would reach out and ask for and say, hey, what are you capable of? And you provide a piece of music that shows off your thoughts and intentions of the game. Now, with this whole pitch letter and the piece of music, one thing that I do want to point out is you probably wouldn't hit them up with all of this information and a unsolicited piece of music in the first communication, or the first time you reach out, right? You probably, the information from this assignment is really meant to summarize a kind of a back and forth over time with the developer. Just for the purposes of this one assignment, we kind of put it all together, but do understand that you probably wouldn't blast them with your entire life story and your favorite piece of music or your composed piece of music without them asking. Sometimes, or a lot of times, they cannot accept unsolicited music for fear of legal repercussions. I know this is certainly the case at Electronic Arts, the EA Sports folks. If you send them a piece of music, they'll just throw it in the trash, or they'll just never listen to it, because there is the very remote possibility that you write this piece of music, and then completely oblivious, they go and write a piece of music that somewhat sounds like it. And all of a sudden, you can sue them because you think that your music sounds exactly, and they've copied and stole your track. And they don't want to even get anywhere close to it. So it's like, oh, here, take my CD, take my demo. And they're like, nope, I'm not even going to touch that. Unless they ask for it, unless it's a submitted piece of music where a contract is signed and it sets up a completely different legal boundaries. So it's kind of like going up to somebody at a bar and saying, you're my perfect soulmate, and here's my entire life story, and here's my background, and here's everything I love and hate. And you're probably going to throw some people off if you just blast them with your every piece of information about you, right? That's something that builds over time. So same thing goes with an employer. You don't want to tell them your entire life story in the first email that you send. So definitely want to throw that idea out there. But that being said, there's still a lot of that information in this pitch letter because it does represent a kind of back and forth. So the piece of music is, like I said, it is not interactive. It is not individual cues. There's no, it doesn't need to loop. It's just around a minute-long piece of music that's in the style of that game, so that it expresses your intentions of what you think or hear musically when thinking about their game. So, and we'll talk about how that is then passed on to through this pitch letter. So the pitch letter represents the email, probably an email, whatever it is. It's a professional business correspondence to a future employer. So it needs to be set up and well written and well formatted in a style that is easily readable and digestible and understandable. So start out with salutation, hello sir, or hello ma'am, or hello game developer, or see if you can find an actual contact name. If it is maybe a lead developer or a creator of the game or a producer, or it could just be, who are they? Dear Farlight Games. Or see if you can come up with some specific individual, because always any sort of communication to a specific person is always going to be better received than if you get a message, a piece of junk mail in your mailbox, and it says, "Dear Sir," and you're like, "Yep, you didn't write this to me," so I know that. So if you can be specific, then introduce yourself. I am a up-and-coming game composer, or I am a new music producer, or I am a classically trained pianist, or I am whatever, any sort of introduction. What you don't want to do, and I would ask you very much, is do not put this assignment in terms of you as a student completing an assignment, right? Don't say, "Hello, my name is Chris Latham, and I am a student at Full Sail University, and for an assignment, I am doing this blah, 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 blah." Even the I am a student at Full Sail University. Certainly nothing wrong with that, except for you're not going to really be a student all that much longer. When you get out, you're not, you want to position yourself as a professional in the industry rather than a student. So put yourself in the best light and express your interest in the project. Butter them up. Tell them how wonderful the project is. Tell them what drew you to the project. I really enjoyed the amazing graphic style, the gameplay of that puzzle, the system that you have set up, or the how fast the game is, or I really like the story that you're telling, or that's a creepy horror game that I'm really into, and whatever it is that draws you to that whatever draws you to that game, whatever draws you to that project, and yeah, it's always good. People want to hear how awesome their project is and why you're totally amazed by it, and it's the absolute best thing and only thing that you ever want to work on in your life. And offer a link to your spec music demo. This game was so amazing. It has inspired me to create this piece of music in this style. Here is a link on my SoundCloud page to check it out. Right? So for this assignment, do not include any WAV files, any MP3 files, or any media. Everything is going to be hosted somewhere. So you create the music, you load it up to your SoundCloud page, you load it up to your own web page or YouTube account, whatever, however it is that you host media. And this is the kind of stuff that you should, if you don't have this sort of things set up and ready to go, a web page, a portfolio, a demo reel, a ways to show off your work, that's what people want to see. You could spin them a story about how amazing you are, and nobody's going to pay attention until you send them work and they listen to it and they go, yes, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Give a brief description of your music, things like style and genre and motif and instrumentation and tempo and pacing. You don't really need to get too excuse me. You don't need to get too specific to say that I am in the key of E flat minor and I have used this particular mode and at this time signature, and they just speak in general emotional terms and basic terms that everybody understands of the style of music. It's a heavy rock piece with a driving rhythm and beat, or it's a fast-paced electronic piece that's got this crazy loud thick bass line, and whatever it is. Speak in more generic terms because your client's probably not going to be all that fluent in music. So, but a bit of description of what they're listening to. Also, include links to other media. You need to include at least one other composition from the class as a link. Hold on just a sec. Oh, there we go. All right. So include at least one other composition from the class. The best example here would be the video that you create from your technical assignment, your 2D platformer or Angry Bots or the Palace of Renthalion. You can upload that video to YouTube and include a link to that, or include a link to your chiptune assignment, or just some other composition from a game, so that you can say, here's my spec music demo in the style that was inspired by your game project, and here's some other media. Here's a project from another game that I worked on. Links to your personal website if available. Links to your demo reel if available. This is the kind of stuff that you should have set up pretty much ready to go when you are out of the program here. If you don't have that set up, that's fine, but if you certainly have links to other more information about you, that's typically the best way to go. You want to give them, you don't want to flood them with media that they're not expecting or willing to check out. You will typically want to give them something short and sweet that's completely amazing And if they want more information, then you have a wealth of other stuff that they can go check out on your website. Information of how to contact you, contact info, how you want to make it as easy as possible for this person to contact you. So email, phone number, I guess your street address is probably not going to be the way they contact you. Social media links, links to Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, all that stuff. Of course, they already have your email because you sent them an email, but any other way that they can keep up with you and contact you, you want to make that as easy as possible. And I see this quite often where somebody will send off a demo or even worse, like have a video or something on their SoundCloud page and like, wow, that's amazing. Who are they? Oh, look, I see like some crazy profile picture and some super secret DJ name, but I have no clue who that person is or how to contact them. Great. I love their music. Can't contact them. Yes, I could like go to their profile and maybe message them through some platform, but man, that's a whole lot of work, and I'm not going to do that. This person is equally as awesome over here. I'm just going to go to that. So you want to make it as super easy as possible for everybody to check you out, and you want to have this online presence where wherever they go, there's just really cool stuff for them to check out from you. Now, about this section of contact info, social media, links to websites, all that stuff. I understand for the purposes of this assignment that there are folks that don't feel comfortable or want to share their personal information like contact information or even social media links. And for the purposes of this assignment, that is completely fine, right? If you want to, you can completely make up your phone number, email address, street address, social media links, all that sort of stuff, right? I might check out your social media stuff if it's a link and I can click on that, but I'm not actually going to call you or email you or anything like that. So if you don't feel comfortable with that information, make it up, fake it on here, just put it in the format of what it would look like in a professional email to a client. That's really what I'm looking for overall. However, speaking to that point, I do want to say that when you are out there in the industry and working professionally, you should have a professional forward-facing email, phone number, social media accounts that you feel completely comfortable with handing out to people so that they can contact you. But that's sometimes, I don't want to say more important, but equally as important to your skills and your training as a composer is your ability to network, is to get your name out there, because you could make the most amazing music out there and nobody's ever heard of you and nobody cares because you're in the middle of nowhere and everybody else loves your music, but nobody really knows what's going on. So very important to make yourself as connected as possible. All right. So that is the overview of this assignment in its 3 parts: the research game description portion of it, the pitch letter, and this can all be in the same document, right? You just copy this part over and fill this out, and then right below that start your pitch letter. And then everything else, your demo music comes through as a link, and I can just click on it and check it out. All right, what else do we need to touch on? Those are the 2 main assignments. Like I said, no brand new game composition for this week because we don't have the opportunity to do revision, but you certainly have your week 3 revisions still to do by Friday. So let me bring up some documents here. Let's see. Go away format. Go away format. Check. 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 All right, so what's this? This is technical assignment. This is Palace of Orinthalion. And the production technique. So most people did just fine on the production technique. If anything, it was the presets that were missing. Where's my the 14 contact presets? For whatever reason, those can often go missing. Sometimes, well, the screenshots were there. I mean, that's mainly what we're looking for. Every once in a while, like everything else was there, but the logic session was gone. That I find a bit odd. You got to make sure that you actually include the template with the template assignment. But some of the things were with routing, of making sure that your buses were set up correctly. Let me do this. Way down here in these buses, creating our aux tracks for winds, brass, strings, and reverb. Setting all of the buses. This is where people were setting this to stereo output. And then having all of it come from the sends. So you want to make sure that the buses come from the stereo outputs as opposed to the sends. I got zoom here. Zoom. Right, this is eek. Too much zoom. There it is. Oh, goodness. Oh, I don't know what's going on. Okay. Notice here, bus 1, bus 2, all the way across. You want to make sure that you set your buses on the outputs, not from the sends. Bus 4 goes from the sends, because that goes to a reverb, right? Bus 4, bus 4, bus 4, bus 4. Bus 1, 2, and 3 go from the outputs. If you have bus 1, 2, and 3 up here on the sends, then you double up the signal. You have it on the outputs and on the sends. And it's going to make the volume twice as loud. All right, so most people did quite well on that. Then there was the technical assignment. This is very much the same as last week. Where were the files delivered? Did they exist? Did they actually have audio in them? Were they formatted correctly, named properly, correct sample rate and bit depth, and were they appropriate? And again, that's pretty loose, but it's also very much mechanical sounds and explosion sounds. And I mean, if it's not an explosion that's and it's named explosion, then that's pretty straightforward. But what a robot footstep sounds like, I leave very much open to interpretation. And oh, what happened? Where's my last one? Palace? Oh, that's right. It's in this. That's going to mess with me. The tabs in here. I'm used to having like 45 different PDFs loaded, and I can just choose the one I want. All right. So earth, wind, fire, and water. The main thing we are looking for in the Palace of Orinthalion composition is the fact that all 4 of these can play at the same time, and they do not clash. There's no dissonant notes. There's no dissonant rhythms. There's nothing that clashes musically, harmonically, melodically, sonically, rhythmically, all of those things. They have to fit and be able to play together. They need to be the same length, so this seamless looping and the proper formatting means they're all in the same number of bars and they all loop together. Appropriate instrumentation, that your choice of instrumentation makes sense for the intensity and theme of that particular cue. One of the main elements of that is the orchestral instrumentation. There's a requirement of this assignment that you use acoustic orchestral instruments. And then the composition. This is where your choice of melody and harmony work well together. Does the melody fit in with the theme of the particular cue? Remember, we talked about the earth cue being more of the hero's theme, the wind cue representing stealth or danger, the fire cue representing the battle or action, and the water cue or loop representing the emotional qualities of the game. So, and then overall mix. And each one of the categories has those same choices. So often here it's, do you have enough instruments? Enough instrument layers that they work together, nothing is copied from one cue to the next, and they all fit together when when it's combined and mixed together. So that is, that's most of what we needed to hit on for this evening. Let's see. Week 3 is wrapping up. I'll get the game compositions back to you by tomorrow. I'll do the week 2 revisions later in the week. You will turn in week 3 revisions on Friday, and then the week 4 assignments on Sunday, and that will wrap it up for this month, and right in time for the holiday week to come, and that will get us into December. So if you have any questions, I'll stick around for a few minutes, and you can ask away, but I think that'll wrap it up for me this evening. Keeps it within a good amount of time, and if nothing else, I will see you again on Thursday, all right? Have a good evening, everybody, and I'll talk to you soon.